Oh, and we are live. As I was about to explain to Bradley that on the live I dance, I move around, and he's doing it as well. And we are live on Oram Poppin's Facebook page for Oram Poppin Chats. My name is Vigankosi. Good afternoon to you and yours. Happy Friday, and welcome to it, man. As we wrap up the week the best way we know how. And for this feature, it's the first of its. Should I say the first of its kind for 2022? I think it's our first episode on the feature for 2022. And I mean, we're kicking it off right along with an amazing human being, one. And, you know, we are not in South Africa today. We are out in Botswana. And joining me on the line from Botswana, his name is Bradley Fortune. I hope I said the last name right there. And he's joining me all the way in Botswana. You'll correct me, Bradley, as we go along into the interview. But you can be part of the feature, man, in more ways than one. You can, you know, be part of the conversation right here on Facebook. It's Oram Poppin's Facebook page. And you can also find us on social media platforms, other social media platforms like Twitter, which I'm trying to jump on right now because I think, you know, we need to start a space. And as we conversate with Bradley this afternoon, and also on Twitter, you can find us at @in_health. Make sure that you use the hashtag It's a Rep, and tag us and tell us where you're at tuning in. And also, if you're from Botswana, I'd really appreciate to see your tweets coming through or your messages coming through on different platforms. On Instagram, it is @pop, and don't forget to visit us on www.popin.org and follow the content there. Today, coming to you live courtesy of Oram Pop in Ehlanzeni in Bonga's house. Now it's a trend that is going on our WhatsApp groups. But hey, let me not waste time. Let me tell you who we have. It's a bit of a lengthy bio. Bradley is a former head of the People, Communities and Movement Strategy Strengthening portfolio at the Lehabibo, one of Botswana's leading LGBTQI human rights organization. A business and IT graduate from Botu University. Bradley is a human rights activist whose local, regional and international experience include local, political and social advocacy for equality under the law, for dignity and the recognition of sexual and gender diversity, and research with a focus on LGBTQ people and issues in Botswana. Through his work through Lehabibo, he has contributed to the 2016 landmark case through which 20 litigants claimed their rights to register their LGBTQ advocacy group. He has continued to represent his community in submission to the Universal Periodic Review in development of the National Health Strategic Framework and in design of the legal and environmental assessment in Botswana. In 2015, he was selected as a jurist for the 2015 Teddy Award at the Berlin International Film Festival. He has, look at you, so established. All right, he since became one of the co-founders of Balorato, Botswana's only LGBTQ film festival, now a well-established annual event. He is the founder and curator of the online Instagram page Life Lost Love, a platform to showcase the photographic narrative of LGBTQI presence in Botswana. Bradley dreams of a Botswana that lives up to its constitutional promise and potential, where all people, including LGBTQI people, are in position to live freely, to have visibility and representation, to enjoy equal access to the justice under the law. I said you are well established. Do you agree?
Wow.
Does it get old? Yeah.
Actually, I am sort of getting used to people reading it out. And as you're reading them out, also I'm like, shit. I do like a lot of things. Sorry for and I'm like, I really, next time I should like edit and make it quite short. Thank you for having me. By the way, I love the energy. I love because it's Friday and it's January. People are still like recovering from December vibes and all. But it's very contagious. So thank you for the team.
No, that's how we kick it off, especially for somebody special like you, all the way in Botswana, who made time for us. We got to keep the energy. And now, about the bio, I think more things should be added into the bio, because I think you are well established, like I said, and keeping it short is not going to be doing it justice. And I mean, for me, I like to go on, and I'm like, okay, now this person is well established. Before we speak about other things, let's talk about the case. First and foremost, it was a milestone. I think the wave that just came with that change was a lot. As you won, how did it feel? Because I think you were one of the people that were in the forefront.
Yeah. There were two cases: the registration case and the decriminalization case. The registration case was really about the essence of LGBTIQ individuals, allies demanding the rights of freedom of expression, association, and assembly, because the government had refused the registration of Lekhabibo, which pushed the lesbians, gays, and bisexuals of Botswana. So we went to court. At the High Court, the judgment was passed in favor of the community. The government had appealed, and we went to the Court of Appeal, which is the highest court in the country. And whatever decision is made, that's it. That's final. So the Court of Appeal reaffirmed it and then said, no, go ahead and register these groups of individuals, which was a milestone. I think for us strategically, in order to also achieve all the other wins that came afterwards, it was important to have an entity that is legally registered and operational and functional. So that is how it started. And followed by other cases such as the NG cases, the Khosita cases, which were the two trans individuals who were granted their gender marker to be changed on their national documents. 2019 was probably one of the biggest and busiest year for us. But before that, all the work that we've done, documenting cases, human rights violation cases, making partnerships with allies, with the media, with leaders, and creating that sensitization, raising awareness, that was like a big thing and a big part of my portfolio also, to teach the public, our parents, our neighbors, our pastors about sexual and gender diversity at a level that we can all understand. So that was very, very crucial, because thinking ahead, we were to get their support, their testimonies, to tell the courts that, no, we do endorse our gay children, our gay brothers, sisters, those who don't conform. So it was also getting those stories. So the stories and testimonies and the researches that were submitted was not only from LGBTIQ identifying individuals, but from the supporters also, which was very amazing. So the 2019, we were at the High Court, and the judgment was passed for the decriminalization of consensual same-sex sexual relations in the country. I think that was amazing, because in our findings also, and especially my work of mine, my engagements also with individuals, we had found that these sections in the penal code, for section 164, were the foundation, the cornerstone of stigma, discrimination, marginalization, exclusion that we as LGBTIQ individuals face on a daily basis. The abuse that we face, so people that hurt us, that rape us, that murder us, sort of feel like they also are being patriotic by upholding that law, But for us also, it was like a great milestone. You need to stop me, because I will just keep on talking and talking.
I'm enjoying it. By all means, stop yourself.
So it's I think when the judgment was passed at High Court, we all were elated, and one of the things that I will always remember is one of our PFLAG support group members from Francistown. Francistown is the second largest city. It's about 500-600 kilometers from Gaborone. She got on a bus in the morning. And this is someone who's like 60, 70 years old. She got on the bus and was like, I am coming to Gaborone to the High Court to come and be with you guys because you guys are my children.
Yeah.
And seeing her was it was really heartwarming. So people actually showing up. You know, we had Baruti, leaders coming up, wearing the church outfits also, the robes. So that was seeing all these different supporters come and the community also. It was mind blowing, really.
It shows that actually you had the support of the community throughout, even beyond just coming to court. I mean, if they can turn out in those numbers or those individuals come through, it shows that there actually was support. It's just that there were some sort of laws that prevented or the visibility of that support. But actually, you did have support. And I think when you answer, you sort of like answered my second question, which was how did that change then, or how was that change for the community, for the LGBTQI plus community, actually for even communities outside the LGBTQI plus when those kind of judgments were passed. But I think you sort of like answered that. So when you look at the kind of impact that a decision made or that judgment made, if you're to reflect, how different did it sort of like impact the lives of LGBTQI plus in the community?
Yeah, I mean, I think also because when I started with my activism, this was around 2015, and prior to that also, about 2010, 2011, the environment was pretty hostile to queer identifying individuals. We hardly had safe spaces that we could talk to, that we could be at, people that we could talk to. So in a build-up also, it was creating safe spaces through the support groups and so forth. But the impact also, I think, and this is what I always tell the communities and individuals that I've worked with, that you all had a role to play. Whether it was 2016 registration, whether it was the trans judgment, whether it was inclusion of men who have sex with men in health policies, or the decriminalization case. Through our stories, our experiences, a lot of them were horrible, were terrible. But we sort of had to give to get also. It made us selfish, but that is the impact that we had. So it helped a lot also, especially with movement building, and getting support not only from the queer communities. It helped influence, sort of spark the youth employment, unemployment riots that have been happening, marches for women, especially women, like these marches that are against violence towards women and young girls also. So that sort of spark, because people were like, yo, if the gays can do it, if trans communities can do it, why can't we do it also? So it sort of sparked also that essence of accountability and people, communities wanting to demand their rights also, because fundamentally we all are supposed to be equally protected, which is enshrined in our constitution, regardless of your sexual orientation, your gender, your religious beliefs. I think regionally also, because we've seen also other countries and queer communities in other countries also starting or going through the process of challenging the penal codes. We see it's happening in Namibia, it's happening in Kenya also. So that also helps spark, that
those conversations. Let's talk about, I think you've experienced some kind of prejudices, if there is such a word, like that, when you first went through all these court cases. And I think Justin J, as an individual who is taking on the lead or wearing the hat of being an advocate for LGBTQI plus rights or human rights in general, let's talk about those prejudices that you've then had to face before and now. I think you sort of like reflected on it now, but then do you still experience them? And if you do, how do you then deal with them?
I mean, they still are there. When I started, I interacted with people. There were lots of queer women who were raped with the belief of correctional rape. And when they would go and report the cases to the police, it'd be like, oh, but you can't really go ahead with this case because being gay, being lesbian is a crime. If you go ahead, I would have to arrest you. And that, discourages people from reporting all these cases. Or if it happens within the family, if you're kicked out or you're being beaten, the police would tell you, but this is a family matter. Go home and talk about it. And I'm literally seeking for help because I'm in a toxic, abusive environment. With the work that and some sensitizations that we've done with La Habiba, especially with the law enforcement officers, we were able to get some allies also. So certain police officials who do help with our cases. The beauty of it also is through the PPEC support groups, there are actually members from the police, the nurses who are a part of these support groups, so they help. But the stigma is still there. As much as all these cases were won in the court, society is another battle on its own. As much as there are progressive steps that are made and that are continuing to be made, especially with acceptance, visibility, still is a pushback from religious communities. I think it was last week, I was literally walking in my neighborhood and I had my shorts on, and it was like, doing my Sasha Fierce walk, and I got some these hate shouts from the guys in the neighborhood. And this is, as much as I'm also fighting for a community, I was also scared for my life. Because you don't know what could happen. So the environment still is pretty hostile, despite the gains that have been made. How we are dealing with it, we have done a lot of partnerships with the police also. Another one that we've done also is documenting human rights violation cases and trying to see if these are cases that can go to court, and what sort of legal assistance can be done. And we do this through the partnership with the University of Botswana Legal Department. So they sort of offer pro bono legal advice for LGBTIQ individuals. And just really through our campaigns, I keep saying our because I'm still a part of La Habiba, even though I'm not employed there also. But through the public awareness campaigns that we've done, sort of trying to appeal to the humanity of Botswana to say, look, we are because of who we are. That tapping onto that bottle, and for us to protect and respect each other despite our differences. So it's really about appealing to that also.
Got you. If you just joined us, welcome to it, man. Bradley is my guest today, all the way from Botswana. We've just touched a bit on a few cases that were won. He's highlighting there how important that those gains, all those wins were, but still, and I think it's quite evident even in countries beyond Botswana that LGBTQI plus are still faced with certain discriminations and certain privileges. But you can weigh in on the conversation for the remainder of the time and really weigh in and give us your views on this and more. Let's look at the comments quickly, Bradley. We have Marinas Tereblanche, if I'm saying that right, says Botswana and his people are so beautiful. Love visiting there. I hope human rights equality are fully achieved there in our lifetime. And I think that's what we are sort of fighting for. And I think that's what Bradley's work largely is focused on, is that human rights are being fought for and realized in our lifetime. Because I think we then look at how beautiful our constitutions are, but sometimes it's not filtering down into the real people, and I think that's is a huge problem. Happy Palen comes and says, "Go Bradley," and just giving you love there. And I think we have a few loves coming through, popping up on the screen. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's talk about Le Habiba, in the work that it has. How much of a footprint do you think that it has in the African countries, especially in Botswana. But I think in Botswana it's more visible because, like, you know, in the introduction, it's one of the leading LGBTQI plus organizations in Botswana. But when you forecast it out of Botswana, how much of a footprint does it have?
Yeah, I mean, I think Lahaiu has come a long way. I think since 1990, which it started as a support group of about 3-4 LGBTIQ individuals to create that safe space, which then throughout the years blossomed and continued to have great momentum, great impact towards LGBTIQ communities and families, allies, and especially with impacting laws. And it has done marvelous work. It also, and this is also what I also admire about Lahaibibo, especially through its current organizational strategy or focus, which is called Beyond the Rainbow. It's really about not working in silos, but connecting a lot with individuals and being flexible also, because LGBTIQ issues are not limited to just our sexuality. You know, it impacts our economy, how we can vote, that essence of civic, political, societal participation. So it really pushes that also. It has done a lot of work, especially regionally also, hosting or the Pan-Africa Conference. I think that was in 2016, hosted the TISN, the Commonwealth Equality Network in 2018, I think. So it really has done a lot of work. And what it also does is through these, at these international platforms, it's about learning, sharing on the successes that the organization has done. So it's making use of these platforms, sharing with our peers, our allies throughout the region, globally also, on how they can also have inclusion in the law, and also for us to learn also from them. So it's really big on learning, sharing, that culture of it. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. Okay.
We back. Yeah.
Okay.
I almost panicked there. But we back. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Lahaibibo's work regionally, it's like I said, it's creating those learning spaces. And one of its focuses also is sort of what's the word when you come to Botswana to come and learn also? There's a term for it that I keep forgetting. Exchange, yes. Learning exchange. So it really does a lot of that also. And also focuses a lot on leadership development, especially for queer individuals, because we do need a lot of representation of LGBTIQ individuals at various spaces.
We definitely do. Yeah.
We do, because seeing ourselves as a politician, as a police officer, even as the president or the vice president, has a huge impact of it. And for me personally, I still do believe that will happen. And I hope it happens in my lifetime, you know. There was a saying also that I think I came across late last year. The more we talk about shame, the more safe spaces we create, the more shame is taken away. And I think that is also what Lahaibibo is doing in terms of creating safe spaces. And safe spaces really it comes across in different forms. It could be an individual, it could be a support group, it could be an online platform, but just also ensuring that and igniting, reminding LGBTIQ individuals that we do matter. We are types, and we are beyond our sexuality, and we should not be limited to how we identify through our sexuality or our gender even.
Got you. What I wish to do is, or what I wish it would happen in our lifetime, greatly, is to see the kind of impact that LGBTQ or queer bodies in Botswana have had in Botswana to transcend to other African countries. And what I mean, I think you've touched on Namibia being one of those countries that is very difficult for LGBTQI plus siblings to just live. So I wish, Jay, the kind of work that you do and the kind of work that other LGBTQI plus individuals do in Botswana and the milestones that they have came to gain would then translate to those countries as well. Because I think, for us, it becomes, for me, it becomes a bit difficult to celebrate. Yes, we do celebrate in entirety on those wins, but I also think about what is going on in other African countries where, queer bodies can't just express themselves and have their sort of, what we've also been speaking about, what is written on the constitution to actually live and just breathe. So it becomes difficult. Do you see that happening with other African countries, especially with LGBTQI plus, say, organizations that are out there to advocate for our rights, also having the kind of, let's call them gains, because we have throughout the conversation?
Yeah, I mean, and I think, well, first of all, NGO, civil society space is really hard to navigate. In the country. Now imagine regionally. And I think that this is because a lot of civil society NGOs also are donor funded, donor driven. That creates a lot of competition, tension between organizations in country, regionally, and so forth. But I do hope, honestly, that we do get to a day where, or an era where, no one is left behind, right? I know the phrase has been used quite a lot and sort of lost its meaning also. But like you said, we can't really fully celebrate here if queer folks in Zimbabwe or Nigeria still get killed for who they love and how they identify, what we can really do also is just externally also, as organizations, civil societies, become like a stronger movement, be a force to together, and have influence, impact on other countries, on their governments, whether it's through the embassies, whether it is through activists, through organizations, but just showing that essence of solidarity, and not just through online, but I don't know what else we can do so that we literally show that we are there also. Because I can put up a Facebook post and say, oh, in solidarity with Cote d'Ivoire, and then I go back to whatever it is. But what else, can we do? I think this is something that we still need to discover, because contexts are different also. Laws are different. And that's something that we need to be aware of. I think just creating a lot of links, networks, so that we can learn also, and sort of I find out what that community may need and what we have that we can offer, or community from South Africa that can probably has something else to offer. So creating all those platforms where it's about learning and really becoming a strong movement together.
I've got you. Listen, we've ran out of time. I think we're left with 2 minutes, and I mean, you've borrowed us 30 minutes, and it would be really unfair of me to eat into the other times. But I wanted also to speak about Balerato, Botswana's LGBTQI Film Festival, and also Life, Loss, and Love. But I think we can park that for now, and maybe hopefully, project it for round 2 or for another show sometime. But I've really thoroughly enjoyed your insight on advocacy, and I think, we see you, especially in South Africa, on the milestones that Botswana has done, and your contribution in those wins. We definitely see you, and continue doing the amazing work that you are doing in advocating for LGBTQI plus rights, because after all, Bradley, we are human, and I think when we start realizing that element about us, or when they start realizing that element about us, a few things would then be at ease. Where do we find you socially to follow your work, to follow the impact that you've made through LGBTQI plus lives on social media, or beyond that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just one parting word. I think none of this really could have been done if people were not, if there was no one that spark of, we all have a common struggle, the injustice, the sideline, whether economically, socially, but tapping into that. So everyone coming to support queer movement, coming to support the women's movement, the youth movement. So creating a lot of those allies, those networks really does come a long way. And I would really encourage everyone to do that. Lahaibo really would not have been Lahaibo if it wasn't for all these connections, networks, and the amazing team that is there at the organization. Where people can find me, Bradley Fortain II on Facebook, at Mr. Brad _ BW on Instagram, Mr. Brad BW, Mr. Bradley BW on Twitter. I tweet a lot of stuff. And on my side project, also Love Lost Life, on Instagram as well.
Yeah, most definitely. I'll follow Life Lost Love. I think it's quite beautiful. And yeah, man, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Until we speak again, happy Friday, and continue flying the gay flag or the LGBTQI flag very high, and continue radiating.
Thank you, and I will be back. Thank you, everyone.
Yes, listen, we should go to Botswana. Send us an invite. We'll be there to visit Botswana and painted South Africa in a few streets.
Yes, and just make sure you are vaccinated also.
Yeah, we are vaccinated. We are COVID-free. Don't worry, Bradley. Thank you so much for your time, and happy Friday.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Alrighty. That is our guest Bradley Fortain, giving us the 411 of what is happening in the LGBTQI plus scene in Botswana. Amazing wins that they've had, man. And I mean, it's beautiful to see the kind of work that he has done or contributed to in the changes that we see in Botswana. And we hope that other African countries will follow suit. We'll continue shining the spotlight on those that are doing amazing. Check me out on Monday for Clinical Monday. It's going to be the first episode for 2022. Cannot wait to see you there as we talk all things clinical, but nonetheless continue following us on our social media platforms. It is Oran Pop In on Facebook, on Twitter it is @N_health, TikTok it is Pop In_health, where you're gonna see us attempting to do challenges. We've attempted the sugar challenge. Check us out there and see how we do it. But nonetheless, you can also follow us on Twitter. It is @N_health with the hashtag #PopInCares throughout our platforms. And until then, I will see you hopefully on Monday. Happy streaming. Oh, in Durban. We're in Durban next week. Okay. We're in Durban next week. So Durban, we're seeing you. Etlangeni, you've been amazing. Mpumalanga, you've been amazing. We're definitely coming back here in February. I almost said September. In February, we'll see you then. Until then, happy streaming. Bye. That was amazing.